Hi, Misha here, and this is effectively part 3 in my new audio for 2024 mini-series. Again, blind, so audio is important, but I don't so much use it for entertainment, although I do, of course, but it's more of a work or anything thing because I have to use my computer, and I have two. I've got a laptop and a desktop, and so I do go back and forth, and also started off buying something for the cabin, as you saw, and it kind of progressed from there. So this one's going to be dedicated to these little earbuds. The new for this year, I believe. Maybe they came out late last year. I think it was this year, though. Bose Ultra Open Earbuds. And at first, I didn't grab them. The price was high, $300, not on sale, a little less on sale. And I grabbed these, as I mentioned. They were considerably cheaper, and plus I knew they worked. So I'm going to go over several things. First, my concerns and why I initially didn't get these, why I did get them. Then I want to address some of the criticisms I've seen from my personal perspective, some valid, some not. And then I want to talk about the text-to-speech audio glitch that's been plaguing me with Bluetooth devices and if I've been able to figure out a fix or not. And ultimately, are these keepers? On Amazon, this actually says they're a frequently returned product. What do I think? Well, let's dive in. I'm not a big tech person, but because of my situation, I've used it my entire life. And I kind of go through spurts checking in with technology. I've never owned AirPods or really any modern earbuds at all. Completely nothing. I showed you in the last video my wired ones that I've had for well over a decade. My ears just don't tend to like them. Plus, in the past, battery life wasn't good enough for my use. Because with the text-to-speech talking, they really don't get a rest. They're gone all the time. But these days, the Bose and other things have showed me that, Bluetooth, doing pretty good. So these intrigued me, but I didn't know, especially with the reviews and everything, if these could be my daily, hourly wear. So I picked up this cheap bone conducting set and was using these two together. These were more for outdoors. They have better range. Comfort is different. In some ways, these are more comfy. In some ways, these are more comfy. So, yeah, I found them kind of useful, but I always kept wondering about these. And I just didn't know. Luckily, Amazon's got a pretty good return policy. So what was holding me back, aside from the price, I didn't know how well I like earbuds, and I was worried about sound leakage. That was a thing that seemed better with these. And of course, with these, you don't have any. But it really was just a spur of the moment, and I jumped in because for all of my worries about a few things and the price, what intrigued me was how much I did like the bone conduction one, but just they needed a little better range and oomph. And I don't know. I just did. So, got them in the other day, been trying them out. And what I did for the first day or so, I just wore them intermittently, kind of got used to them, messed with some things. But then I wore these for 2 days straight. And then yesterday, I used these pretty much exclusively for just all-day wear practical comparison. So, what do I think? These are old reliables, very classic headphones. One reason I like the QCs, they're very lightweight and they can compact up a lot. They've got good, if not amazing, noise cancellation, touch control, or not touch, but button controls, and the range is quite good on these, and the battery life is literally 24 hours. So cool. These I liked. As I said in the last video, the back band, little kind of odd. They still have touch controls. Yeah, I saw these. One weird little thing I noticed with these, and I think it's just the bone conduction. Maybe it's a filling in one of my teeth. But I hear just the slightest tinny sound when using these on one side. Could just be, a defect, or it could just be like something on me vibrating. It's not a huge deal. I did notice it, sometimes more than others. And the range on these, while fine, isn't amazing. Now, you think all Bluetooth would be the same, and generally they are, but I've got a couple of places I like to sit that are just on the edge of Bluetooth, and some, like these, connect 95% of the time. Some like these kind of go in and out. That bugged me. Basically, I thought these would be cool, and I like that they're waterproof, but I really want the comfort and just the Bose-ness. That's why I bought these. So I'm going to be honest, after trying these side to side, this might be a fucking game changer for me. So here's why, and kind of the pros and cons of each. The QC is light and compact. These are essentially weightless, like 6 grams. And they just roll on your ear. Sorry if there's any hair stuck on them or anything. There's a couple of different positions I find that they fit my ear, and you can just kind of scoot them around. And they don't wear, they don't pinch. I didn't notice any rub spots or inconvenience. And you can just do one at a time if you want, which I did do quite often. They, of course, come with the case, and they're held in with magnets, the mysterious magnets, who knows, which I think is great, because I have cats. And there's also kind of a follow-on benefit to the magnets, too. I will use the lamp to demonstrate. Even though the magnets are really there for the case, you can literally stick them places. That's great, because I might knock them. More importantly, my cats might knock them. My only advice is, if you do that, don't pull from this area. I would say I would pull from the main battery driver area. But no, the magnets are quite powerful, but not so much so that I'm going to worry. But that's just a little neat effect. I don't know if that was intentional, but I love that if I sit them on my computer, laptop, or desktop, because my laptop has a metal top, they don't go anywhere. So you can do either one. And this is what I thought was quite neat. And this is one reason I went with the Bose over some competitors. They actually have buttons on each one. Not to mention the case has a button. I'm not going to press it because it's a pairing thing. So there aren't touch controls. And they're not too bad to use. They're not as convenient as the QCs, because you have easy up and down and mode selection. You have 4 buttons on these versus just 2 on these. But considering the limited real estate, I'm just happy to have an actual, and it's a very good clicky, and you're not going to accidentally hit it. I think I've only actually hit it once when adjusting or touching my ear, out of habit. Not a big deal at all. Play, pause, fast forward, or skip to the next track, or go back, volume up. Basically, you click once and then hold down for a second, click for volume up or down, left or right, up or down. It's pretty freaking intuitive. And you have 2 modes built in. You can switch from just regular mode to the immersive mode, which does drain the batteries more. It's fine, but I don't. I just use stereo. And there's a couple other settings you can do in the app. But, yeah. And one thing I do like is not only can you have one in here charging at a time, when it's in and you close your case, this remaining one automatically switches to mono mode, so blending right and left tracks, and then you take it out and it goes back to stereo automatically. So speaking of the battery life, that's one reason I've kind of avoided small Bluetooth devices with small batteries till now. In comparison, these are quite big and have 24 hours of battery life. Some criticize this because other Bluetooths have 30, 48, or even 60. I don't care. That's cool and all, I guess, if you're really on trains and planes, but everywhere's got USB now. And these charge in like 30 minutes full. Maybe an hour if you really drain them. But I rarely get them, like right now they're setting at 50%, and I haven't had them on charger in a couple of days. Because 24 hours of use, it's a lot of use. So just find a USB and plug them in, charge them. It's not a big deal. Take a minute, as the kids say, touch grass. These are said to have 7 to 8 hours. Some sources claim even 9 in the standard stereo mode, 4 or 5 in the immersive. I don't really care. So that seems a lot less, and it is. But there's some things you can do. For one, you can do the one bud at a time. So 7 hours per bud. So 14. More importantly, though, the case, like most cases now, to be fair, acts as a charger. And it holds 2 to 3 charges. Some places say 2.5, which is kind of strange, but I guess to split the difference. Either way, you've got built-in battery. Let's just say it's 2 charges. So you've got a total of 21 hours per bud, at least. So up to 42 if you really stretch it, but realistically, probably upwards of 50. Now, that's plenty. At least in my opinion. And as far as the comfort, well, they're different. And I find after wearing both, I tend to gravitate towards them when I'm doing different things. These are really good around the place. And, just wearing. They're very light. They're not, I joked with my wife. I said, I'm actually worried that I might get in the shower with these on because they have such a small impact on your ears. At least with these, you notice it. Even though they're comfortable, you notice it. And that's kind of the problem, especially if I'm outside. This can collect sweat. It's not near as bad as many others. It really isn't. But eventually, sometimes if my ears are in these or any kind of cups after a while, they feel gooky. They, the earwax kind of builds up, or just your ears feel confined, like you're when your feet have been in socks too long. It doesn't happen immediately, but after a long while. These, obviously, they don't go in your ear anywhere aside from just a tiny area on your ear that they touch. And you'd think this big battery-looking barrel thing would do, but it doesn't. It actually goes behind your ear quite comfy. Kind of like with the magnet, the strength of this is strong enough. I did not have... I knocked one of them off on the first day because I brushed my ear out of habit. I was like, oh, what's on my ear? They just brushed it. So I brushed it off. I tried packing boxes. I tried going outside. I even worked on some yard equipment with oil and stuff and was around, even my arm kind of brushing my ear and didn't knock it off. And just around the place, brushing teeth, eating. They're secure. They're very secure. It's kind of funny, though, because you don't think they are. It feels like they should be coming off. So these feel sturdier on your ears. And going back to these for a second since they're here, they fit me well. But again, this band in the back, if I knocked it, usually in a chair, about the only time they came off. When I was just, standing free, they also stayed on my ears pretty well. And I have relatively small ears and everything. I'm a relatively small person. So they worked well, but they do have a difference. Now, I will say, as far as range, thing I was concerned about, these do great. These have the shortest range and we're just talking a few feet. These are kind of in between. I've noticed sometimes they will do fine, and other times, probably the signals going around, maybe battery level, they get a little more finicky. But they're, generally speaking, better range than I was expecting, kind of like with the battery life. And speaking of battery, I guess this is a good time to address some of the criticisms, complaints, or concerns that people have about these, and what I kind of think about them. And since I've been talking about battery, charging. One thing I've seen is they don't have wireless charging. They do to me. This case where you can just pop them in without plugging them in, that's wireless, right? And it holds a charge. It's got a battery. Of course, what they mean is you can't sit them on a charging pad, a wireless pad. You need to plug this in to a USB standard. It comes with a cord. Not only do I not mind this, I prefer it. Wireless charging, for one thing, I don't have a smartphone, so I don't have a pad. The thing is, it's not wireless. Even if you have a pad, it itself needs a USB cable to plug into a wall adapter or a computer. So you're really just introducing another component, another step. Like if you have AirPods that do wireless charging, you set this equivalent on the charger, so you've got a separate unit. A separate unit means just one more thing to lose, fail, or take with you, because I travel. So if you're always at home and whatnot. Another thing, wireless charging is less efficient. Therefore, it charges slower, and there's more heat waste. I don't like heat when it comes to electronics. It's never been good for electronics. I like that these charge hooked up to USB almost as fast as these. So faster charging, less heat generation, one less component. Again, if you're set up for Wi-Fi, I'm not dogging you on your wireless charging. I just think it's more of a personal preference thing, and I really don't quite get it because it's not wireless. You still have a wire, the same wire, same USB. So, and then finally, cats. My cats would be more likely to knock or chew something sitting on a pad than they would something plugged into a computer that I can kind of hide, either on top or beside it. So yeah, and me too. I would be more apt to knock it. Again, personal preference there. So not having wireless charging, but having this style of case charging, I'm cool with. I like it because what's nice is you can be wearing these and charge your case. And then pop them in the case, and they charge quite quickly, or even pop one in a case at a time. You've got a lot of options to keep them going. Again, though, I'm not using them for music or watching a movie so much. I'm using them for a text-to-speech program, which is glitchy with Bluetooth, which we will get to. I'm doing something different visually. They're still on my fingers, though. It'd be great if I had ears on my fingers. So the next complaint, they don't have multi-point connection. They didn't when they were introduced. They do now. Tested it with my laptop, desktop. No problems. So, next. Some said that they were cutting out, especially one bud. I think this has mostly been fixed with modern updates as well. I did make sure when I got them, they were up to date, and when I plugged them in. And that's one thing I do like about Bose. While they do have apps, they do have PC compatible. You can just, get the little Bose thing for your computer. Go to the was it BTU or B2U Bose place, plug your thing in, and boom, there you go. So that seems fine. I haven't had any issues. Again, only tried them out for a few days now, but yeah, no connectivity issues. So next, they don't have noise cancellation. No shit, Sherlock. That's the whole point of open ear, so you can hear the world around you. It's rather important for me, and frankly, it's more important for you than you realize. That said, if you need noise cancellation, headphones like these and many others do have very good. So that's why there's still a use case for the QCs. If I'm outdoors, if I'm in a car, traveling. Also, even though I trust these to sit on my ear, they haven't fallen off yet. It'd be just my luck to get on a train or plane, get off and realize they'd fallen off somewhere and lose them forever. These you're not going to. But I think as I have these more, I'll learn to trust that they're just not going to come off. That said, I could see someone in New York subway just plucking this off your ear and running into the crowd with it because, New York subway, right? So, yeah, the whole not having noise cancellation thing is kind of silly, and I think it was mostly said in tongue-in-cheek just because some people might expect it. But, yeah, it's not in your ear. How can it really do that? And that's kind of the whole opposite of the point of these. Now, I will say criticisms are on the immersion mode. I get that. I've never liked that, really, that kind of the weird effects modes, not just with these, but even wired headphones on a computer. They've got all this, just give me straight sound. So that I do appreciate. Plus, using it drains your battery almost twice as fast. So regular stereo is good enough for you, good enough for me. So some legitimate criticism there. Next. Sound quality, the bass. Yeah, I mean, the bass isn't great on these. Did you expect it to be? Between the size and the fact, again, that they're not in your ear. I've also heard people say the bass isn't great on these. I suppose it's fine for me. Then again, I don't want my TTS to be booming in my ear like the voice of an electronic god. But I did listen to music with both of these, and I have in the past, and it's fine for me. But then again, I guess I'm not what they call a bass head. What I've always liked about Bose is how they deliver acoustic guitar, violin, to a lesser extent piano, and, well, vocals are very differing, certain vocals, especially vocals with an acoustic. These sound as good as any other Bose, again, accepting the size and limitations of open ear. But again, if I really want to get into a song, I will probably still use the QCs, but for just casual listening, like YouTube videos, these are fine. So, again, not really my thing for music. I should try watching I should see how Interstellar sounds. I love that film, but the soundtrack and the sound mixing is a little odd on Interstellar. I might try that later on. Anyway, volume in general, I never crank my headphones up all the way. It hurts my ears. I tend to leave most of my headphones at around 50%. These I might bump up to 60, maybe 70 if I'm like running water. But then again, if I'm in a really noisy area, I'm not using these. I'm using these. And then I'm using the noise canceling. So, yeah, again, different use cases. So I get it, but sometimes I think some of the audio reviewers out there have kind of wrecked their ears because a lot of this stuff, even these, they're plenty loud for me. Oh, well. So I don't think for what they are, it's bad. But again, use case, you need to really know what you're getting them for versus that. So in conclusion, for me, the sound is perfectly good. And in some cases, better than expected. And even when it falls short, I expected it. So it meets and even slightly exceeds my expectations. And I did try it with all kinds of music, again, from classical up to Nine Inch Nails. And of course, the first thing I played through it was Smashing Pumpkins, because this is me we're talking about. So I don't think criticisms there have a whole lot of weight, even the volume thing. Then again, I still have pretty good ears for someone in their 40s. Next. Cost. Okay. $300, maybe $280, $270 on sale. That's money. And these are tiny. So you might think, well, they don't look worth it. Now keep in mind, this is from the perspective of someone who got introduced to technology in the 80s, went through the 90s, and hasn't owned other earbuds that are Bluetooth. So to me, myself and I find all the stuff they've crammed in here, especially a good battery, good range, I find it to be remarkable. There's a lot of compactness. And you get a case with another battery. It even comes with a full, put it the right way. There we go. I can usually tell the difference between which side's up and down because the button is slightly different. But you do get a case with a battery. and you do get an actual physical nice manual. The packaging's fine. You get a decent cord. I always appreciate that. So I'm not going to say worth it. I mean, they're high, but if these last as long as my previous Bose products, I'm going to say overall, if they remain durable, and I can only, time can only tell, I'm going to say worth it, because I've kind of adopted a buy once, cry once policy when it comes to things I have to use every day. These and my sunglasses. I've also found with sunglasses, if I will pay not for fashion, but for durability, I can use sunglasses for 10 years. So, not to kind of go into that tangent, but assuming these last, and they're new, so okay. If they don't, if Bose replaces them, fair enough. I'm going to say they're worth it. Now, they don't come with a little carry case, and I was looking on Amazon to see what they had for covers, cases, but then I realized something. I recalled seeing this in an old junk drawer I have, this kind of random parts, and it's even Bose branded. I think my earbuds originally came in it or something else. I wonder if this would work. Yeah. Almost perfect. If it's a little more narrow. It even has a little net thing here I put my cord in that these came with, and it zips up just fine. And it has a lanyard. So, yeah, great. I save like $15. That's me. I will spend, $300 on headphones, but then I'm tickled to death when I can save $15. That's how I am with money. I don't mind paying for stuff, but I hate bric-a-brac. Just stuff people kind of drain their money on, not even thinking, stuff you pick up at the gas station, never use, or a little bit of technology. Like I said, I would have chalked these up to that too and kind of regretted my learning, but I think without having tried these out first, I may not have realized just how much lightweight and compact headphones I might enjoy. And also, these are waterproof. These aren't. That is one criticism I have. But I guess with the technology, there's not much they could do. I do wish Bose could find a way to make these more waterproofy, but it might make the sound even lower, so that might not be worth the trade-off. So if it's raining, I'm basically probably going to use these in a case where I'm worried about them getting stolen or lost, or it's wet, yard work, that kind of thing. Or if my wife needs them, why not? Or maybe I'll get a wild hair up my butt and try them in the shower one day. And these, again, they're probably going to be better, well, I know they will, for listening to movies, music, and maybe certain activities where it's louder. Like if I need to do computer work in a car, the noise canceling will be great. And at the end of the day, I really do need 2 headphones. Because what if I do run the battery down, maybe I forget to charge it, maybe I leave the case open, which will drain the case battery. Maybe I leave these on. Now, they do have auto offs on both, but still, what if I do something stupid? I've done it with this camera before, because the GoPro will power off unless it's plugged into your computer to download files, because I like to do it that way versus Bluetooth Wi-Fi, because it's so much faster, and it keeps itself on, but still sucking the battery, so that sucks. There's things you can do. So either way, if one goes down for battery reasons, or if one breaks, or if one's lost, if one's stolen, or if maybe a friend needs to borrow something at the cabin, I've got a fallback. Because think about it. If I lose my audio device, I'm screwed. And that speaker, that SoundMax, is great for listening to things, but text-to-speech, it's really intended for headphones, earbuds use. It's not really good when it fills the entire room. It's kind of headache-inducing, at least it is for me. And I'm happy to report that neither of these are. Wearing both for a couple of days, no headaches, no earaches, no discomfort, and that's not always the case, guys. Even that tinny noise I sometimes heard in these eventually kind of got under my skin, quite literally. Again, for a couple hours, no problem, but I just couldn't quite see me wearing these all day. So I don't really feel like most of the complaints, even the price, considering the technology in these, is that bad. But I also don't think Bose is really, if you're just a music person, that's your whole jam. Maybe not, they're probably better. But for me, using them for listening to YouTube, listening to videos, casually listening to music, they're fine. And of course, listening to TTS, text to speech. So, even though I don't think most of the stated complaints online are valid, when I first got these, I almost had to return them because the audio glitch I was telling you about, where it would clip the first little bit of my speech every time I was trying a new sentence there, and it got to, especially with numbers and things and names, it was horrible. I was having to have it repeat. I know it's probably difficult, but imagine if you just didn't hear the very first part of a conversation. Or if you've been on the phone with someone using a Bluetooth connection, think about how it is when they're quiet for a while, then they speak up. Sometimes you don't hear the first of what they say. Imagine that all the time, but listening to speech at a much accelerated speed. I was missing a lot. Now, I noticed with different headphones and different devices, it was different. These were pretty good. These were actually the best I'd come across on Bluetooth for what I call clipping. When I first got these, by far the worst. And that's why I thought, crap, I might have to return them. And that bummed me out. I like the light, compact case. I was very quickly getting used to the physical controls. The form factor fit my ear very well. By the way, I can't see photos, but it was intuitive. It took me not even an hour to really figure out how to wear these that fit me the best. And overall was pretty happy with them. But it just, look, the clipping was going to kill me. It was just horrible. It would sometimes bounce from ear to ear, clip stuff, blah, blah, blah. It was just not happening, man. But that was a Friday, so before I gave up, I just started digging through settings in Windows and whatnot. But not with these, because I really couldn't use them. I had to use these or even my older RCA, the radio cheap headphones I've been using as kind of disposable units for years. And I went through Windows 11. I've got Windows 11 Pro for what it's worth, because my computer is a business computer. And I went through all the Windows audio settings, pretty much all of them, even asking ChatGPT for some help, which is actually really good at that. Then I went through all the Bose settings, which, to be fair, their app isn't terribly in-depth. I know that it bugs some people, but it's fine by me. Then I started digging through my speech. There's a ton in there. I tried different synthesizers because, the speech loads voices, synthesizers, modules, wherever you want to call them. So I tried different ones. And I was noticing something. Windows has a reader built in. It's not as expansive, useful as a purpose-built text-to-speech, but it's free. I can use it to get around in an emergency. I noticed that while it had some clipping, it was very, very minor compared to my standard text-to-speech, which is, by the way, a screen reader from Dolphin. I did use JAWS in the years back. Long story about how I ended up with Dolphin, but either way. So I finally just started flipping switches, and I finally figured it out. After years of not really having Bluetooth audio devices work with my speech as well as I would hope, some to more, some to lesser degrees, after having to retain old plug-in, to the 3.5 port radio wireless headphones, because wired, that's not going to work for me or the Cats guys. Haven't used those in over 20 years for my computer. Anyway, I finally fixed a problem that had been plaguing me. I think the main thing is I was blaming the headphones or even Windows because of all of its crazy settings. No, it was my speech, specifically a part of my speech, and I don't even know why. Under Voice Preferences, and you go to the tab for Synthesizer. You pass over the Select Synthesizer tab, pick yours. You go to Configure. Then you go up past the General tab, not in the Advanced, but you go to the Audio tab. There's where I found it. It was set to wave out, not direct sound. Now, there was another advanced tab in a different place in the speech, and there was situational settings. Again, this is window within a window within a window, or tab within a tab within a tab. I guess it makes sense, but I mean, I just thought it'd be more in a primary, because this seems kind of important. At least it is to me. So I flipped a switch, and my world changed. Wave out, for those that don't know, is pretty much an old way of doing things. I don't know if you'd really call it a codex, but it's kind of the classic way. Direct sound is an aspect of DirectX. It's a newer way with more options. And a better way, because latency. Yes, clipping latency is the problem. The problem was latency. Wave out has a much higher latency than direct sound, especially with Bluetooth versus wired. That's why my old school headphones weren't clipping at all, because they were literally old school. They were just, as far as the computer knew, it was just a regular speaker or headphone, because the wireless part was just between them. But I kind of quit using them because it seemed like over time the range really decreased, and they took AAA batteries. Even though they were rechargeable, after about a year, the recharge kind of stopped taking. Even when it was good, at most you got 8-9 hours before you needed to recharge them. That's maybe why these at 24 seem amazing to me. So I flicked it over to direct sound for my text-to-speech output. And then I also changed the setting. There's either fast mute or zero mute. And I put it from fast to zero. Fast mute will cut off output if another sound comes up. Not clipping the front so much as clipping the rear of speech. And when I put it to zero, it would let the speech finish saying whatever it said before letting other audio kind of come through. Now, that setting was not even on offer with Wave Out. It's only direct sound. So between going the direct sound itself and switching the mute mode, it eliminated 98% of the clipping. There's still just a teensy tiny bit, especially if the computer's kind of laggy or busy or things are going on. I can live with that, because even with headphones, sometimes that happens. What can you do? That's just life. But it was like at 75%, 80% at the most. So that is a major quality of life improvement. And it took these from, I'm going to have to return them even though I like them, to these might be my new favorite thing in the whole tech world. Just as an aside, it also improved these two, of course, and the speaker, which was also having some clipping or latency problems. It might have even been worse than these, hard to say, because I had it further away from the computer because, big speaker. So, with that said, I'm not the kind of person that says I'm in love with guns or technology, but this is such a useful little thing to me. But I understand why it wouldn't be to everyone, and I understand the money thing too. But maybe one reason $300 doesn't seem too terrible to me, my whole life, I've just had to cough up money for technology. accessible technology, text-to-speech, braille displays, because it's for a niche market, usually made by pretty small companies, it's expensive as hell. Early on, my speech software cost multiple thousands of dollars. I'm thrilled that it's down to like $400 now. So, yeah, just kind of matter of perspective. A lot of the stuff I have to use is expensive. So, this isn't too bad for me. If it works, and it's useful, and it lasts. And these have made me using the computer so much easier. Oh, and one other weird thing, switching the modes seems to have extended the range of these just an extra foot or two, just enough to get it where it needs to be. I don't know, it's not 100%. These still have a little bit better range, but it definitely helped the useful, practical range and connectivity of these a bit too. I don't know, very anecdotal there, but we'll see. I actually will be interested to see, I'm going to the cabin soon, how these do out there, because around here in town there's Bluetooth signals and 5G and radio and all that flying around. Out there, well, there's some, I'm sure, including my own Wi-Fi signals. It's just my signals they'll be picking up. So I'm interested to see, without interference, how they do. And that's one reason I was happy last night to finally retire my RCA radio headphones. Ooh, they're sticking together, magnets. I guess something you can do too, stick them together. I had kept them on my desk plugged in as a backup, because with the whole latency clipping issue with Bluetooth, there were still times like when I was logging guns out when I couldn't afford to make a mistake by not hearing something. I would still use them. So basically I used them when I was at my desk, and when I would walk around I'd use these. But after the better part of a week of using either or of these, I've decided I just don't need those. I realized I hadn't picked them up in several days. Why take up a plug-in? Why take up desk space? And I've been using those for a long time. 15 years, maybe 20. It felt kind of bittersweet to finally retire them. But yeah, this technology, especially, this is Gen 1. I'm really excited to see where we're at with Gen 3 or 4. Because, you know, these headphones, these QCs, they started off, with 15 or 25, then 35, 45, now these. And they've gotten better each time. So while I won't be buying another set of these next year, because I'm not an idiot, unless there's like a great Labor Day sale, in a couple of years, I'll be interested to see what version's out there. So, again, for my purpose, for my need, Bose did not let me down. So, thanks, Paul Harvey. One of you maybe got that joke. But as I close out, having finally fixed my huge issue, not just for these, but all Bluetooth, which is really going to change my world, I do have a few small complaints. And again, if they're doing generations 2 and 3, suggestions to Bose. For one, I would like an on-off ability for these. Now with these, of course, you've got it right over here. A very nice positive switch. These automatically turn on and off when you put them in the case, which is generally a very handy idea. They also have an auto off if there hasn't been activity for like 15-20 minutes, which I'm happy it's not like 2 minutes. Some auto offs are way too quick. But it would be nice, let's say you mislay your case, you don't have access to it, but you still want them off right here, right now, to have a way to turn these off. And I've thought about it. I think a good solution would be holding down both buttons, because right now, holding down both buttons, I don't think does anything. Now, pressing once is play pause. Holding one button down switches your mode. But if we held both buttons down, but then again, since they are meant to operate as one, but then again, volume you can't really do. So yeah, I think so. It's like an emergency measure. I think holding both buttons down as an emergency on-off wouldn't be bad, Bose. And I think that might be doable with a firmware update. But maybe not. I mean, I know nothing about making these. Honestly, the technology behind these is just like one step below magic to my mind. I'm a gun guy, not a tech guy. I use it, but I don't really make it. Another thing, the microphone. Yes, these do have a mic, which is kind of remarkable in and of itself. Bose mics aren't great. I'm not going to say they straight suck, but they do kind of straight suck. Even with like the QCs, even the older 700s, Bose mics, don't buy it for a mic. And to be fair, I don't really do either, but I do use these for live stream. That's the one reason I said in the last video I picked these up. This mic is sufficient for live streaming. The mic on these, I've done a little bit of recording testing. It's not great, but one thing I have discovered with it, the position of the bud on your ear greatly impacts the mic. So if it's higher up, lower down, it seems very directional. So what I want to do is experiment with recordings in a different position more, and then just do phone calls. Now, the buttons do work with your phone calls, and that's actually useful for me because at the cabin, my regular phone, because it's a dumb phone, doesn't do Wi-Fi calling. Yes, I've looked for new ones. They don't really make them in AT&T. Verizon does. AT&T doesn't, whatever. So I've been using Google Voice for calls. And worst case, I just sit in front of my laptop and, talk there. But it'd be nice if I could just have these on and click on and off for a call. So when I go out, I'm going to experiment more. So right now, the mic isn't great. That's just something that can be improved with firmware too. But I'm going to see how calls work. If they drop calls, calls coming in sound fine, but the voice out, I've seen in reviews, so I'm not going to dismiss that because I haven't really tried it yet. Another thing, and I mentioned this already, but just want to reiterate, the protection from water and dust. These much cheaper ones have an IP rating of 6 dust and 8 water, although keep in mind companies do their own testing, so honesty, who knows. These are not even rated for dust one way or the other, and a water of 4, which is better than nothing, but I think all Bose are. And I will say with my older QCs, why I never drenched them in water. When they got wet in the rain, nothing happened, but yeah, it wouldn't be bad if they could bump it up to maybe 5 at least. I think some of the competitions are at 5. On the water. I mean, 6, 7 would be even better, but I think that might impact sound quality because I think the problem is the small openings needed to relay sound. And of course, any weatherproofing needs rubber and stuff too, which would make things, battery. So, and they have buttons, and that can make it hard too. So I wouldn't want to give up my buttons for that. You know what they could do though? On the case, this just closes. A little rubber seal. So even if the earbuds aren't waterproof, a waterproof case, kind of like the SoundMax speaker, that they could do. Now it looks pretty solid. I mean, it's got the USB in the bottom, but a little rubber seal on top. And I think it would be just more satisfying when it closes because it does have a little bit. This case feels pretty good, but it's got a little bit of wiggle. The case is nice, but upping the quality just a little bit for the money, I'd be down for that. On the other hand, please don't lower the quality because I hate when they do that. Finally, what it comes with. The packaging is great. I hate it when you have a tiny product in a huge box. It's just dumb. Nice manual. It's kind of cool. It's resealable. Case is nice. It does come with a pretty good long cord, but a little carry case to put your other case in like this. Why not, guys? I mean, these came with something. It's like a little drawstring bag. Let me see if I have it over here still. Is this the one? You get it live around here. No, that's from my microphone. I might have already moved it. I had other stuff here. Oh, well, you can check out the other video. But these come with a little drawstring bag. But what I like about this case is having a lanyard. You can put whatever you want on it. Come on, Bose. Let's do that. Let's throw in a case that won't even, a little cover that won't even cost you $5. Yeah, I'm just trying to be fair. If we're going to do the price. What I actually would want them to do would be lower the price and remove features, remove quality. I hate when they do that. Now with these, I didn't get the Ultra QCs because their added features I don't need. Plus, I don't like their touch volume control. I have tried that out in person, and they're heavier. So I don't feel like these are cheaper because they lost features. I just feel like the higher end version has features that I don't need. Like if they had a version of this that was the exact same quality, but didn't have the immersive mode and was $50 cheaper, I'd do that. But I wouldn't want to lose anything else, if that makes sense, especially the way the case works. I'm actually digging the case. This is probably old hat to you guys that are used to AirPods and all that. Again, I'm excited. And I think I have a right to be, because this is something that I use almost every waking minute of my day, especially work. In fact, when I was testing these out, I fell asleep with them on my ears and woke up and I'm like, oh crap. So they're that comfortable that I kind of just... So, yeah. That's when I was kind of wishing there was a manual off, because I actually had to get up. I had it next to the bed, but put them in the case. I'm like, I wish I could just touch these and turn them off. Oh, well. So I'm pretty stoked, guys. It was an impulse purchase. Luckily, I had a couple of rewards cards, bonus money saved up. I'm glad I did it. But now I've got to be good for a while. I've got 2 new headphones. I hope they work for a while. I've got these as kind of a backup or travel pair for whatever situation might need. And I've got the speaker for use at the cabin, either when I'm alone or entertaining people to play movie or, music with. I feel well set, and I will say that I paid for it. I've done the buy once, cry once. Now Bose needs to do their part and have a durable product. Now, if I do something stupid to break them, that's on me. But these should stand up to normal wear and tear. That's my expectation. That's the trade-off for me. And what I like about these are Bluetooth 5.1, so pretty modern. These are 5.3, I believe. So not 4. The speaker is actually Bluetooth 5.4. But either way, it's a modern enough Bluetooth that it should do just fine for a while. And one thing I like about the Bluetooth over 5.0, the range and the battery life is so much better than 4.2. And getting out of the 4 points is why I actually had to retire my older QC35s. They were great for the day and time, but the range and the battery, it just started to look a little long in the tooth. But when I got them, they were cutting edge. They were a lot better than what had come before. And that's just kind of how technology goes. What's hot today is not worth much tomorrow. And that's why I don't really like spending money on tech. So when I do, since it's not something I enjoy doing, I want to buy it and then not even think about buying new ones for a couple of years. Computers, headphones, cameras, whatever. I mean, yeah. So that's my life. I am super excited to have finally fixed nothing glitch exactly. I don't know why it was set to wave out. But now I know if it starts to do it again. And I did notice sometimes my speech would switch back to wave out. I would start it up and be like, wait, it's sounding crappy again. So but I know what to do now, and then it takes me 3 seconds to go and switch them on. But just how it goes. And since, I don't really know anyone else that uses the same software as me and is using the same headphones, I didn't know who to talk to. I knew there was an issue, but I didn't know how to talk about it, describe it. And it was a pretty alone feeling. But now it's a pretty exhilarating feeling to know that that's over. So there you have it. But what do you think, though? Would you pay for headphones? Do you use them a lot? Do you use them little? Do you like speakers? Do you like earbuds? Or do you like on-ear headphones? I can't do those. Those kill my ears. Do you like over-the-ear? What about mics? Are mics important to you? Would you rather have controls via your phone? Or do you like buttons? I mean, I don't really have a choice. Buttons are just kind of what I need. But I can understand how some people would prefer their phones. I'm definitely glad that these have multi-point, because I need to be able to switch from my laptop and my desktop immediately, and it works fine. I tried it out. But I need to do some more experimenting out of the cabin with range and some experimenting with phone calls. So might even do another little update, but it'll probably be a short. So that's my little journey, guys. We'll get back to regular stuff. And very soon, we're going to have a cabin completion video. Hopefully very, very soon. Until then, though, this is Misha. And I'm going to put my earbuds on and get back to work because it's still daytime. So I'll catch you next time.